We are great. The X-Men '97 gang is here. Of course, I have Michelle Waffle, Otero, Warpath Dillon, and Stefania Sassano. We are here talking about episode 4 of X-Men '97. And this was kind of like, it was an interesting episode because it was one episode, but it was also kind of like split into two different things. And the episode titled Montendo Life Death Part 1. First of all, I think it's really, really interesting to point out, and I'm interested to see how much you guys caught of this and what you thought of it. There were, again, this has been a theme in X-Men '97 with mild changes to the intro, animation. And the first thing I noticed right off the bat is that for the first 3 episodes, when they did the Jean Grey intro, she had her hair down.
And then she went ponytail mode.
Yes.
You know what? Like, ponytails mean business.
That's right. She's ready to roll now. And there were some other neat little things, little cameos we saw in there. We saw the Shi'ar Empire. We saw Polaris. Of course we saw Forge. I believe, if I saw it correctly, Iceman Bobby Drake was in there.
Yes, it was.
For a hot second, yeah.
Okay. And then of course we saw Xavier and the White Queen. So I'm anxious to get to those episodes because obviously they're throwing those in there like, hey, that's going to come to something. What are you guys thinking of those changes and the way the X-Men '97 opening animations have been changing from episode to episode?
I think it's cool that they do that little tidbit to keep you on your toes, because even though we're never going to skip the intro anyway, it's nice that, since we're not skipping it, that we're getting something new.
I think that's the point of changing the intro every time, so you don't skip the intro. They make sure you watch it, and it's fun seeing new things pop up every time.
I like that they give us something relevant to the episode that we're about to see as well. Like, it all kind of ties together. It's like, oh, remember when X Factor made an appearance way back when? They're like, well, that has something to do with what's happening in this episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for the MCU, it's kind of the opposite of the post-credit scenes where we get the pre-credit scenes. They're gonna allude to stuff that's coming up.
Not think of it that way. That is a fun way to think.
And this episode kind of begins, and it's interesting where we have this once again we have a kitchen scene with the X-Men. Yes, we get Gambit in the crop top, although you don't see him standing, so boo-hoo, guys. But we've got, and again, we have this tiny, tiny little moment with Magneto, Gambit, and Rogue, where Gambit's like, hey, I got you coffee, and she's like, big guy beat you to it. Big Daddy already got it for me, he knows how I take it, too. And then, we got these, and I don't know what it is that made me laugh so hard, but it was just something about Wolverine referring to Beast as the Blue Rogaine ad. I don't know. Personally, I found that hysterical.
It was very much a dad joke, so of course you.
Yeah,
of course I would like it. Yeah, of course. And then Jubilee walks in and is like, "Hey, it's my 18th birthday. Let's go to the arcade. It'll be like the old times." And Eric has to be very Eric, and we can't be doing that. Mr. Sinister may resurface. So we'll just go around the board. What'd you guys think of that scene? I'll start with you, Steph.
Well, I just like to put it out there that 3 sugars in your coffee is quite a lot of sugar, and I really was shocked. But I'm also there's probably a part in her mutant blood where she doesn't get effect from that. She could take however sugar she wants, how much she wants. I mean, for the woman that says sugar a lot, she takes a lot of sugar. So yeah, I was pretty shocked about that. But I was sad we didn't get to see crop top Gambit stand up, but it's all right. I'm sure we'll get him again in the future. And I think this opening kind of brings us a bit closer to the storyline, the love triangle between Rogue, Magneto, and Gambit.
Michelle, what do you think?
I liked the little banter we got with the coffee. Gambit's offering her some cream, but she's like, no, I already got my sugar. So like she just takes sugar in her coffee. She doesn't need any of Gambit's cream, I guess. I would take both personally. That's how I like. I like my coffee creamy and sweet. So uh, I think Magneto
Dylan
just
is losing it over there.
also like not about having fun for a birthday party. Like, isn't that the point? Is to have fun? And he's no, we got to go to the danger room. We got to go train. And she's like, but it's my birthday. Like, let me go to Dave and Buster's, you know? Like, what the heck? I did not understand that part, but whatever. He's not the fun boyfriend, I can tell.
Mm.
No, definitely not. Gambit's cream. I'm so dead.
Yeah. That we're only like a few minutes in, but that may go down as like the quote of the night already. He turned down Gambit's cream for Magneto's sugar. Like,
Does that mean he's okay? Actually, no, this is very bad. I don't know if I can say it.
Oh my God.
It'd be bad if I said it.
Am I supposed to be putting rating levels on these lives?
Yes.
Well, I was talking about food stuff.
Well,
I just thought of something really, really funny, but also like really appropriate.
Let's do it. Let's hear it.
I was gonna say, well, I mean, Magneto is older, so his is a bit dusty.
Stefania. Oh my God.
I mean, facts.
You know, last time we all did together stuff, you never did define to me exactly what you meant by older. But I'm going to let that one. We're just going to gloss past that one right now.
I did say
When
older.
it turns
not
to
old.
dust, that's when you're old. When it turns to dust, that's when it's no longer cream.
It's just
that's when
it's
you're
like
old.
dehydrated milk, you know? It's like that carnation stuff.
Powdered milk.
Powdered creamer.
Yeah,
Right.
it's just powdered creamer.
Right. Yeah. Not the Cajun stuff.
Yeah, it's not that fresh cream.
We might be done,
Right.
guys. Yeah, Zuckerberg's going to show up and shut us down any second. But anyway, Dylan, what have you got? Can you salvage this thing at this point?
No. I used to be a person that used to put a lot of sugar in my coffee, but now instead I put a bunch of creamer in first, then add coffee. So that's all I had to add.
It's like, do you pour the milk or the cereal first? It's like that.
Cereal. Crazy people put milk first.
That's a psychopath test. Like,
No, really.
Come on. Okay. We had a track. So we get to the scene where first of all, I just want to say that Jubilee doing her Magneto impression. When she's obviously been rejected, and her and Roberto are in the bedroom, and this is where we get the Motendo, first suddenly appears, which for those of us who are older but not quite dusty, very much remember the Sega Genesis and the X-Men game that was on that console. That was a ton of fun to play, but also insanely difficult to play. And that was really cool. So anyway, they get warped into this game. And this is like a ton of fun where we get to see them like running from Friends of Humanity. There is a payphone, and we kind of get like a Matrix sort of reference there. We get a flashback to Genosha. I think we get just a slight partial frame of Warpath in that. Yes.
Just him arching his back, and that's all we see. We don't even see his face.
No. That's hopefully hopefully he does pop up again, because that would be a crime if he didn't. And then we get the whole Skinny Mojo shows up, who announces that he's decided ratings haven't been that great. He's decided to switch over to video gaming. So basically Mojo's getting into Twitch streaming, which is what we have going on here. and then they get thrown into a video game, which for those of us who remember the 90s arcade game, which was iconic, it very much was, it was obviously made to resemble that. So like all of that encapsulated, I would love to hear what your guys' thoughts are. Dylan, we'll start with you this time.
Oh my God. Well, seeing Genosha was fun. Actually, wait, rewind. When Jubilee and Roberto were taken out of the mansion by the Sentinel, I just want to point out that we once again got to see an energy blaster use their energy to like lower themselves to the ground. So Cyclops is not the cool one by himself anymore. Jubilee got to do it too. But yeah, Genosha and getting to see some cameos that were not Morph was fun. Especially Warpath. And yeah, I played that Sega Genesis game a billion times. It was super hard. I mentioned this on my podcast. It was also kind of sexist because you could only play as the men. The female were like support characters that would come in and do something. But then the arcade game reference was so much fun. So I enjoyed it because it was like, yes, animated series. And then every video game ever, everything X-Men from the 90s, all in one episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a good question. Joshua has here. Dylan, did you ever beat that
I
game?
don't ever remember beating it. No.
Yeah, I don't think I did either. I wasn't a Sega Genesis kid, but I had a friend who had one, and we would do these things where he would borrow my Super Nintendo for a weekend, and I would borrow his Sega Genesis. And I always had to send a bunch of Super Nintendo games with, and from him, all I wanted was X-Men because I was determined to beat that game, and I'm pretty sure I never did because that was a really, really difficult game. Anyway, Michelle, where are your thoughts at on this whole thing?
I thought because we were getting Mojo, we might get my girl Dazzler, but we didn't. He only name dropped her, so I was kind of bummed out about that. I thought it was funny that he was all like skinny and like sunken in because his ratings are low, and then as the ratings go up, he's just like, yeah, and then you see him like fill out again and become like big time Mojo again. I also love that Roberto is like not like having this at all. Jubilee is all about it. Like all of her character shots that you see where you choose your character, she's like, yeah, cute. And then Roberto's like, oh my God, like, no, like I do not want to be here. It was really cute. And even though like Roberto's not using his powers, he's still kind of like playing. So it was a cute like bonding moment for them. I liked it.
We got to see him use his power a bit. Like it's just his arm that he uses. I can't wait for him to go like full on.
Like full
full
solar
sunspot
on or
yeah
whatever his catchphrase is. I don't know. It's not flame on.
Flame on.
Fire.
I just want to point out that we got Mozempic in this episode, and Mojo on Ozempic, and I thought that was the funniest meme to come out of this show. Because like Ozempic is talked about every day now because celebrities use it for weight loss, and just I find that so funny. But I enjoyed this. The one thing I want to note is the dial-up tone when the system was booting up. I thought that was really, really neat, like such a clever Easter egg to put. I can't remember the last time I heard a dial-up tone. It's been like, I was born in 99, but I still had stuff like that growing up. So we still had stuff. I know. Guys, I'm aging myself here. No, I'm just kidding. No, we had like so many old things still when I was growing up, so I heard all of these noises you would hear in the 90s, I guess. And I enjoyed the game type of animation. It brings me back to at least when I played like Super Nintendo. I had like my cousin had like the first one. And I would play that all the time, and like the graphics are literally the same thing. And I like Michelle said, with Sunspot being like, no, I don't want to be here, but Julie's having the time of her life. It's her birthday, and she wants to spend so much fun time playing video games. Like that's what she wanted to do. Um, and I keep seeing online of the cartridge. The game is the same as the Apocalypse. Was the Apocalypse game?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, same design. I thought that was really cool Easter egg. But yeah, this was a good episode, a good moment, a fun moment for Jubilee. I think this is what she wanted to do for her birthday, and she got it. I mean, it didn't really turn out like how she didn't want to be in Mojo's world, but Mojo getting all like the views and the ratings and just plumping back up again is really funny.
Mm-hmm.
And live streaming, that's very um that's like it's like a bit of, it's 1997. So it's like a bit of today's time and 90s time. You get a mix of both, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was it was I really got a kick out of it. I think it was like a year ago I was at an old school like nerd arcade and they had that 90s X-Men game there and I hadn't played that since I was like a kid. And I hadn't played it with my oldest son forever because thankfully they had it rigged so that you had infinite lives, which was the only way I was going to beat that thing without spending $300 on quarters. Because that game too is also incredibly difficult. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. Of course, we got to get we got Spiral in there, and we had seen her before, but that was morphing Spiral. But here we actually got to see Spiral and her. I loved her comment about how like yeah, this is what happens when you cut tech support. Which I mean, anybody who's worked in like that kind of industry, like my wife has, it's hysterical because they do that all the time and they complain that their shit doesn't work. But yeah, so like we get to this point where they're like, they're doing the big Magneto fight. And Roberto kind of gets knocked out. Jubilee does her awesome video game thing, manages to defeat Magneto. Oh no, look, there's an extra life underneath this thing, and brings Roberto back, and then they get teleported out. And I thought it was really cool who teleported them out and the discussion that they had there, which was kind of like you know, I don't know what way you would say that as sort of like future you speaking to younger you, like let me give you a little bit of advice here, kiddo. But yeah, that whole big thing. We'll start with you on that one, Michelle.
I I like that Jubilee's like not listening to Roberto like this whole time. He's like, "Girl, like you can't just be playing video games all day, like for the rest of your life." And she kind of only listens when she hears it from her older self, which is it Abseka? I I don't pronounce it right,
It's
but that's what
abscissa, I think. I could be wrong.
Absissa.
I think I've heard it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when her older self is telling her, I've done this so long, like I've played like all the possible outcomes. I'm the last one left. Like there's more to life than just this. So like girl, like go live your life, like I got it here, don't worry. I thought that was really, really cute.
Hmm.
Also, I was very confused. Like the very first time I watched this episode, I thought that Spiral was helping her out the whole time, and I didn't
Yeah.
realize it until like a second watch that. I was like, oh no, it was Absec older Jubilee
All
that
due,
was helping her out.
I
Old
mean,
lady
they
Jubilee.
say her name in the episode, so I think there's a reason why. They're like, nobody
Yeah.
can.
You,
Like why'd they do that?
I don't know. I wrote her name down on my sheet of paper here, and I wasn't going to attempt to pronounce it until Dylan did because I'm like, whatever Dylan says, that will be right, and that's just what I will go with. So,
I always try and I'm always wrong, but I don't even care. I'm just like, yeah, that thing.
older Jubilee.
Yeah.
So, speaking of Dylan, what are your thoughts?
Uh, I. It was so much fun to see this random character, older Jubilee, because she was in comics, but she was in like two comics, so it's just very random that they would throw this character in there. Um, I love the speech that she gives young Jubilee, because there's a lot of people that don't want to move forward in life when there's certain things happening, and they just want to stay in their comfy zone. But that's not life. You're not living if you're not moving on. So I thought that was it's like, if you think about this, remember that the X-Men, the animated series, taught us life lessons, and X-Men 97 is also doing that. You may not realize it at first because you're like, oh my God, X-Men's back. I don't care. I love this. Whatever's happening is happening. But also, like, there is life lessons happening.
Like, don't
You might,
cut tech support.
yeah, you might just have to for your 18th watch because you're just excited that it's X-Men.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. Steph, what do you got?
Um, I, I mean, I have to go back to the older Jubilee speech. I just it it's sad when you have to hear those words that you have to grow up, but it's also like comforting when you want to revert back to your childhood and just those memories and things you grew up with and playing video games. Like nobody's saying you have to stop playing video games. It's just you can't always do that, you know? Like there's a life outside of your house, outside in the world. Like there are so many things happening going on that you should be aware of that I think those should start becoming more of a priority and something for you to think about. Um, and you know, she's only 18. She has so much left in life, and she should go experience what life's about. You know, go go to the clubs again. You know, we saw them go to the club in the what was the first episode, and go out to like amusement parks or go with friends anywhere. Like you have um oh my God, I forgot his name already. It's on spot. Roberto. I was like, I had a brain fart right there. Oh my God. You have Roberto that you can like hang out with because you know you guys are close in age, and it's always nice having somebody close in age with you or the same age that you can go and do stuff with, you know. And it's not like you know don't ever like it's not like to you have to never play video games again. You could still play video games, just not as much. I mean, like I haven't played a video game in like 2 months, I will say. So, like that's how life's busy with me. Um, but yeah, I just enjoyed that little speech, and it is nice to be in your comfort zone, but you know you gotta explore. You gotta kind of get out of that comfort zone and explore what life's about before, because life's short. Life is short, so experience it all. That's why I like that moment.
It sure is. And I think what was really clever and really great that they did in this show is that you have Jubilee, and then you have older Jubilee in this scene who is voiced by Allison Court, who voiced Jubilee in the original animated series. So to me, like it adds an even other layer of like older generation speaking to the younger generation, like giving this wise life lesson speech.
Yeah, it was very much like passing of the torch,
Mm-hmm.
and well, maybe I think too much into it, but it's also like there might be some X-Men the animated series fans that are not necessarily uh what's the right word? Liberal in their thinking. And maybe older Jubilee is like, hey, everybody, you gotta grow up, but you can still have fun.
It's
Yeah,
kind of
agree 100%.
it's kind of like I feel like she was kind of speaking to like the generation that grew up with the animated series, you know? Like she's saying, you know, you guys are older now and it's time to I mean, it's, you know, you've been looking at the world differently, but like now she's saying, you know, it's time to look at the world differently and it's time to just uh change, but not change completely, just, you know, adapt, I guess. Adapt to the changing world around you. So I feel like that's also she's speaking to people that grew up with the animated series. Because, I mean, technically, she'd be like the same age, or not the same age, but like she'd be like older right now in real time, right, Jubilee? So it's like that's how it is. Talking to young Jubilee, all the young people, or all the people that grew up with the show, watching the show now.
Hmm. People like myself, yeah,
I was
yeah.
gonna say yes, I would be one of those elder millennials. Yes.
The three of us.
That's exactly what I mean.
They're
Real
like,
quick,
so
if
Yeah.
X97 was like in real time, like Stefania wouldn't be born yet
Yeah.
because she dropped what year she was born.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The year after I graduated from high school, when I thought I was a young buck and ready to go on and take the world, and Steph's not even born yet, and then later lecturing me about older people being dusty. Like that was a life that life took a turn on me here in this live.
I feel like every line,
Every line
something about
is going to say something that attacks Finch, and I love it.
I
Oh
have
my
to. I
gosh.
have
I
to.
don't feel like you're that old though. Like,
no,
but then
No,
you're
I'm
not that
old,
old.
so
Michelle.
maybe it's just me.
Michelle's like, no one asked me how old I am. No one.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. I'm pretty open about it because people are like, "Come party, like come hang out," and I'm like, "I'm old. Like I get tired."
um, I got nothing to say on that one. But you did not look old and tired at the WonderCon after party. That's
Oh,
all I'm going to say.
because I was like 2 margaritas deep and shots.
Only
So
two? My lord.
yeah, 2 margs, 1 or 2 shots. I don't remember.
Either way, it was fun. You looked youthful. We'll
Thank
keep it at
you.
that. So yeah, after this speech, here was like the moment where Roberto and Jubilation have a little smooch mooch. But that was in game, wasn't it?
No, no,
No.
Was it?
They
they
had come out of
just
the
No.
they
game.
defeated
Yeah.
Mojo
Oh,
for back in the.
that's right. Yeah, they defeated Mojo, came out, and yeah, so that's gotta set something up. I feel like with Sunspot, we're dealing with this thing where they keep like hinting a little bit. Like at one point in time, he just sort of kind of showed what his arm can do, and then and this one he like arm blasted, and I feel like this is gonna build up to some big end game moment where he's gonna go like full Sunspot
Full
and just like
solar. He's gonna go
yes,
Hmm.
full solar.
yes, and he's
Yeah,
gonna say flame on and
full
just
solar because he's not flames.
that's true. Does so before we move on to the second half of this episode, does anybody have anything else they want to add to that first half, or things that stuck out to them, things they particularly liked, or any other comments?
I'll say something. I saw some people online that were getting upset about Sunspot, and they were like, "Why is Sunspot even in the show? He's so lame and like won't do things." And uh, I don't know if it's just me because I do come from a different perspective of being queer, and I'm just like, he's already told you people he's afraid of like people finding out about who he is and what he is. So like he's getting comfortable with people.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I will also say, why do the X-Men allow Jubilee to have a boy in her room? I know she just turned 18, but like he was already in that room. What are you doing? Like, would Xavier have allowed that? Like,
I mean, he's not here. Magneto doesn't care. Maybe he thinks she's in the danger room. She's practicing teamwork. So he's like, all right, cool. That's fine. He's busy
Or
giving Rogue her
yeah,
sugar. So
yeah,
he's like,
that
whatever.
too.
He's booty blinded, okay? He's like, I don't.
they're children allowed to be children.
I think it's cute though. Like, there's nothing like super sexual about it. It's just a couple of kids like kissing. Like, I did that when I was 18. Like, it's innocent, you know? Like, it's
What?
not bad. It's just kissing. Just kissing. And I'm here for this ship. I'm here for the ship.
I was just remembering in the first episode, though, it wasn't Jean that said it. We thought it was Jean, but Jean was like, we have children here and we need to be good examples,
Well,
but okay, let's let them
that's
be.
Maddie, and she laughed. She
Yeah.
laughed. She was the only voice of reason, and she's not there. Like, we got Ponytail Jean now, and she's at the UN trying to do stuff with
Yeah,
Cyclops.
she's doing big
Also,
girl shit.
so
Yeah,
awkward. Like you just come back from the dead, or whatever, from being captive, and you're gonna go with like your maybe husband to like the UN to solve some problems. That's really like helpful.
that would be like the most awkward flight in the world. Like them just
Yeah.
sitting there staring at each other, like so.
Like, so went and had a baby with someone else,
Mm,
huh? Okay.
mhm.
Yeah, that conversation is going to be something.
Yeah,
So was she good? Was she better than?
So tell me, was she the Goblin Queen? Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that could go a lot of different ways.
I just need to know
Mm,
how that went.
if you took it the wrong way, that's not my fault.
Yeah,
I don't know what else to say. Oh, JT's here. What's
that
up, man?
would be
Um,
a question though, because she could be like, "Well, was she better than me?" And he'd be like, "No," and she'd be like, "How? Because she's me, so I'll get bad."
And you could just like see Cyclops struggling. He's like, oh, like there's gonna be no right answer here.
No, right.
Oh,
the funny thing, Gene, is we never did it once. I don't know where that baby came from. It's so weird. However, one
it
thing
must be
that,
Logan.
yeah,
Well, okay,
That would
That's
be a
Logan's
twist.
kid. That's Logan's kid.
no, because it got infected by the technovirus, so
Well, it's true.
would have
It's
had a healing
true.
factor. But
Definitely
one thing
Cyclops.
that Scott has going for him in this scenario that nobody else who's ever broken up with is he doesn't have to worry about saying the wrong name and it causing a problem. Like, excuse me? Who?
yeah,
Like, just Gene.
Right.
You can just run with Gene.
That's right.
Now, if he says Maddie during something, then I think he needs to see a therapist. I'm pretty sure Scott needs to see a therapist anyway, because
Yes,
there's a lot of
definitely.
baggage there. And
Well,
I
there's
think,
that game show that, well, not the game show, TV
yeah,
show that Mojo had,
Yeah,
Divorce Court,
divorce
the TV
court.
shows. Yeah.
Oh, that was really funny. Now that you
Yeah.
mention it, it makes sense because like they're what are what are they?
yeah,
Mm.
Mm.
Like, because they technically didn't get married, right?
we that we
So,
know of.
that we
My theory is they
know
got
of.
swapped out at the wedding, but was it before or after
Yeah.
saying I do?
I think they got
So,
swapped out on the honeymoon, maybe. So they
oh,
could be married.
oh,
I think they would
oh,
do that to make
Mm.
it messy.
but
You
yeah,
know,
we'll never know.
well,
No.
they'll never know. Like,
maybe
well,
some way
yeah,
we will. I feel like Maddie's popping back up. Maybe we'll get some more background to this. Um,
hopefully.
Well, so then we get to the second half of the episode, Life Death Part One, which was it was an interesting way to start this with like the last like 10 minutes of the episode is like leading into something big, and but that was probably the best way I guess time because it technically then does give you 10 more minutes overall to tell the story. We just it made me want to eat chili. I don't know what else to say. Like I'm watching this and I'm like, I would love some chili. And I posted in my Instagram story the recipe for Forge's chili. I'll post it again after this for anybody who
Does it
wants to
have
try.
bison in it? Like, because that's what it was, like bison chili. Is that
Well,
what he?
unless you live out in the middle of BFE like I do, it's probably going to be pretty hard to get bison meat. So I just put in ground beef
Okay.
instead. But if you want some bison meat, let me know. I'll ship
Where
some to you.
did you
Um,
get that recipe? Did you just say
well,
that a random
here
recipe is Forge's?
I would not say random. I would say that I make the best chili on the planet. So if Forge makes really good chili,
Oh,
it's probably equal to mine, if not
Oh,
less. So
I
giving
was
my
like,
recipe.
was there a panel in a comic? Was it where
it's
they showed?
Finch's and Ford's collab.
Yes,
Okay,
I thought
yes.
they just like released the recipe and you got it or something.
Marvel
No,
the recipe, and I missed it.
just make it
Marvel
needed.
cooking
Like,
book? Oh, wow.
is this what we're
Oh,
questioning? Just make it needed. Like, just and say, oh, this is Forge's recipe. It's really good. But so and I did not catch this. I watched the episode twice, and maybe I'm blind, but I didn't catch this till I saw somebody pointed it out on X, formerly Twitter, that this adversary monster demon we see later that in this early scene where Forge and Storm are having chili, you can see it in the rafters watching them. You can see these two little eyes up there watching them, which I didn't catch till somebody pointed it out
Hmm.
on
I
Twitter.
didn't know this. Stefania is shaking her head like she knew too. Now I
Yeah,
have to.
I didn't catch it until Twitter. Yeah, I saw it on Twitter.
Oh,
oh,
I gotta.
oh.
I spend
There's
one.
Because my
like,
screen is dark, I can't tell.
yeah. I mean, we're looking at the chili. We're not looking at the rafters,
Yeah.
you know?
Exactly.
Like, we're
I'll
like,
watch
what's
it
in that?
fine.
No, but I'll tell you what though. Now once you go back and watch it, you cannot miss it because it is framed in such a way where Storm is only taking up about a third of the screen. and the rest of it is just the ceiling of the
Oh
cabin.
my
And
God.
up in the distance on the rafter, you can see these two little eyes watching.
That's
Did you
terrifying. There's a second
also
part
see
too where
that
you could
there's like the
see.
owl face in the mountain?
Yeah, yeah.
hmm Yeah. But we have that. Forge and Storm go on this horseback ride. There's a couple other things in there, but Forge does this failed attempt to give Storm her powers back, and then he attempts to lay his game on her. Is the best way I'm going to put it. Like he gives her the whole like you're a goddess even without the powers, and I love you, and he gets slapped, which I thought was necessary because I'm sorry, Forge, you can build a lot of things, but pickup lines are not one of them. But yeah, I'll just all that together. Thoughts, comments. Michelle, we'll start with you.
I mean, like he had some game, but like it wasn't executed in a proper order. Like he should have told her that he's partially responsible for her losing her powers because he knows this. Like he could have told her like closer to the beginning of their relationship when they were just friends, because I'm sure it came up a few times like, why are you helping me? And he could have been like, well, a long time ago I assisted the government, and I think that maybe like this led to you losing your power, so I want to help you out. And she'd be like, oh, okay, that's so nice of you, like, oh my gosh, wow, like still like bad choices, but thank you, like thanks for helping a girl out. And just him giving her compliments after she's already upset, like as a woman, like I don't like that. Like I don't want to have compliments when I'm upset. Like it's not going to de-escalate the situation. And I think she's feeling a lot of emotion. She's feeling betrayed, and that's when the adversary kind of like swoops in because of all of these because Storm is very emotional. Like she feels things very like high. So maybe that's why the adversary is like coming in to feed on her, and just kind of puts her like in a bad spot. And honestly, like I thought that was the Shadow King when I first watched it because of the eyes, like the glowing eyes and stuff. And I'm not too familiar with the adversary, so I'm looking forward to see where all this goes.
hmm
Yeah.
Either Dylan or Steph, or either of you, because I'm with Michelle. I don't have a ton of background in my mind on the adversary. Do either one of you have some like nerd 101 wisdom you can drop on us involving this character?
I mean, I know the adversary is like a threat to the X-Men as a whole, and like kind of messes with all of them, but that's pretty much my extent of the adversary.
Yeah, it's this villain that feeds, like it says, feeds on misery of others, and especially if people are, going through it. It's an easy time to attack, and yeah, it's kind of always been a villain for like Storm and Forge, specifically Forge, because I think there's a few other times where when Forge was a part of X Factor, the adversary was the villain. Um, I wanted to say that in this X-Men community, sometimes we get lucky enough to befriend some of these creators. And I know that there was a scene that was cut from this. And the scene was actually Storm. If you've ever read the Life Death story in comics, it does start with Storm like not wanting to eat food. Like she's with Forge, but she doesn't want to eat food. And there was a scene that did show that. And it showed that like she hadn't been eating food for quite some time. And so it kind of gave you this sense that they were together for a while. But for some reason, that scene was cut. And then we get to have 3 minutes of them together and him professing his love. So, yeah, it's fun to be friends with certain people and find out about things that were cut, because you're like, oh, that would have made much more sense instead of everybody on the internet complaining about him loving her so quickly.
Well, it's funny. That's great that you say that. I kind of wonder that there had to be, because I know the writers for the show are not lazy by any stretch of the imagination. But you have to admit, like a little bit gave off a little bit like Instagram stalker creeper vibe. Like, I've been watching you for a long time and I'm in love with you. And she's like, whack. Like, what? You know?
Yeah.
I honestly
Uh,
felt the same way because when he said "I love you" to Storm, I was like, "How long has it been? Like, how long has she been here?" I mean, like, I'm gonna assume that she's been there a long time already. But that really threw me off. Um, and that slap was amazing. That like the sound, the impact, phenomenal.
That's a slap
Yes,
you give someone that you've known a while too.
yeah,
yes, that
yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
And I
think their
think,
Um,
time
uh,
together is like inferred. Like
yeah.
I didn't feel like it had been a short time. Like I felt they had spent a lot of time together just from the things that they were
mhm.
doing. Like there was if they didn't feel like connected to me at the beginning of the scenes and then they started doing things together like the horse riding scene, I felt like that was bonding and that was something that they did frequently. So when he was professing his love and like I didn't feel like it was weird. But that's just
And
me.
I
I
also,
don't know.
yeah, and I do want to point out that Sean is here, who is one of the producers of X-Men '97, is here watching this live right now. Who is also my doppelganger, or I'm his doppelganger. I don't know which one, but we've already discussed showing up to Uncanny Experience and like cosplaying Multiple Man.
You
Um,
both,
but
both were at WonderCon in your jackets, and it was very confusing because you
I
both.
yeah,
know you're twin. You're
and
twin.
And he got in trouble at Uncanny Experience because a picture got posted of me, and his coworkers thought it was him. And he had blown off work to go to Uncanny, which I find hysterical. But us white guys with backwards hat and glasses, and beards, we all look the same.
No, you two just look really similar. It's crazy.
We do. But yeah, I thought so too because there was even like a line in there where I think Forge says to Storm, "If I would have told you what I did all the way back in Dallas,
Yeah.
like that already implies like all the way back when, like some time has definitely passed that they had been at this cabin and hanging out, and he's been falling in love with her, and yeah, it must be a lonely cabin." But yeah, before I move along, did anybody else have any more thoughts on that scene or kind of like how all that played out?
Just the part where his failed attempt of giving her powers back. Allison's performance as Storm. Like,
Mhm.
why do you want to make me cry every time this woman is talking?
Like
Honestly,
she's the best. I mean, give that woman like what do you get for TV or voice acting? Is it like an Emmy or something? Like
Emmy's
I'm
TV.
not yeah. Give her all the awards because like she has our hearts like we feel for this woman, you know. We're invested. Her heartbreak is our heartbreak.
Yes.
Honestly,
Uh,
like she really, if there isn't even more like sad moment that we get from Storm in the future, like if this isn't the low, if we get an even lower point, I'm gonna just completely lose it and just bawl my eyes out because this really like made you. I mean, you felt really bad for her and you felt for her when she lost her powers, but this just took it to another level too, because like, she has this one chance of gaining them back and it doesn't work. And it's like, oh no. I mean, we know she's gonna get her powers back. We know, that's how the comics go. But like, it's just agony to just watch her go through this and suffer this pain. So I know
Yeah.
when she comes back though, she's gonna be like insanely powerful. So we'll see.
Yeah, and all the credit in the world, like voice acting wise, because
Mm-hmm.
when you think about throughout the course already of this show, we've seen this like range of her doing Storm is like powerful, confident goddess, Omega level threat detected down to I can't feel the wind to, in this episode. So it'd be, the broad range that voice acting wise that she has brought to this character has been absolutely amazing. I feel like we're going to start our own award show and just give them all to her
all
because she deserves it. All of them.
even like
That,
loving time where she was talking to who she thought was Jean was Maddie in the bedroom. Like she's gone
Yeah.
every spectrum. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
yeah,
You know, oh, she's great. Great.
and in only 4 episodes.
Yeah.
Like the fact that an animated show with a voice actor, you've seen that much range in just 4 episodes is insane. Yeah, so then we covered the adversary, because like that would be the next thing, is like, oh, the adversary pops up, and my question was going to be like, hey, who can tell me about adversary? And you never know how closely they're going to follow it. And of course, I did a very, very, like, just before this started, I did a really quick, like, Wikipedia search on the character, because I didn't know a lot about it. It had something to do with Forge and his culture, and he manifested it during the Vietnam War, and then it became an adversary to X Factor. And speaking of X Factor, we did get a really cool throwback to that, because in Storm's wall we see a photograph of X Factor there. And I'm like, anytime we can get Strong Guy in anywhere, I'm all for it, because that's just the greatest thing ever.
That's right. I saw you on social media going crazy about Strong Guy, and I was like, I didn't know that Strong Guy had like fans.
I think only because, and I mean nothing bad to the character, it's just the whole concept of that character is so hokey, and is intentionally hokey, that I just like the fact that, like, the writers didn't even bother to come up with a code name. Like, he's Strong Guy. He's what we got. He's Strong Guy. So anytime he can pop up anywhere, I'm like, it's Strong Guy. Yeah. And there was, if you guys caught this, did we get a bit of a Bastion Easter egg in this one, where the photograph is on the wall, and Forge is standing there, and the person on his right is partially covered, but the uniform looks like Bastion? Have you guys picked up on that? What do you think about it?
I mean, not only that, we got Dr. Adler too. So who knows? We could probably see both of them come up in the future again. Whether, I don't know if it's like confirmed that Dr. Adler is like dead. We just know Mystique was Dr. Adler. We don't know. So we could probably get, Dr. Adler back, but as Mystique instead, because she is in the opening, or actually Adler, but also Bastion. Like, that's pretty exciting. I think it's just a nod and a tease to what's to come in future episodes. They know what they're doing when they leave these Easter eggs. So I think it's just only a matter of time till we actually see them, whether that be in the next one or at the end of the season, last episode. We just know they're coming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I feel like Mystique is going to pop up on this show in a major epic moment. Like,
probably.
some person.
That's a Mystique thing. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to find out the whole time, oh, this person was actually
It's
Mystique. It'd be
Jean.
hilarious if it was Magneto. It's Gina.
I'm just kidding.
Again, and they're gonna be like, "Wait, what?"
I thought this is gonna be what the heck.
And Logan's going to be like, Scott, save some for the rest of us. For the love
Wolverine's
of
gonna
God.
be like, I knew that wasn't her, bro.
Yeah. I tried telling you them gingers, bro. I'm sorry, Dylan. I think I cut you off there earlier.
Oh, you're fine. I was just gonna say it's fun to see like an Easter egg like that of Bastion, and just how like very Sentinel heavy the first episode was, and how like the animated series, like, yes, they have like all the villains and everything, but like Sentinels was like the first villain that many people knew for the X-Men, and it's just very interesting to see Bastion, because like 97 is like many years ahead of before Bastion was like actually in comics. So it's fun because it also is kind of like skipping forward a little bit to like, hey, we can kind of catch up a little bit to other eras.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like true 90s right there. That's like Operation Zero Tolerance.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Check
Which is kind of in the titles that are coming up. Like, what is it? Tolerance is extinction? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
It's a three-parter, right?
The last 3 episodes are that.
Ooh.
Last 3 episodes. So wait a minute. So we have 5 episodes left. No. We have 6 episodes left. Sorry. So we have three, and then we only have three more until we get to that. It's crazy to
Mhm.
think about. Wow.
Yeah, we are. It's frightening a little bit because this show has been so good and we've been so excited, but we are 40% of the way through the first season,
Yeah.
and that terrifies me. I want every season to be 159 episodes that come out by
Like,
twice a
can
week.
this like
That'd be amazing.
an anime where there's like 56 episodes and 27 seasons?
Oh yeah.
There's enough
Yeah.
material, so I feel like they can
Yeah.
make this happen.
Well, they could, but if they did it anime style, like the last 5 minutes of an episode would be Wolverine just popping his claws, just like you
We
know.
get 56
Oh,
episodes, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, right. All right. Well, there we go. You guys got time for some questions?
Yeah.
I wanted to point out real quick one other thing, to just add to us giving Allison Seeley Smith the award for everything. She was also the voice of the adversary.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
Yes.
add
oh,
that to all the other emotional spectrum that we
Hmm.
said that she could do, also doing villains. So it's just like, give her everything.
I
It
am.
makes me wonder actually if you encounter the adversary, do they take your voice? And like,
Hmm.
is that so for Forge? It would just be Forge's voice if you were to attack, if adversary would attack him. Makes me wonder.
That was more.
oh, I
Would
like
it laugh
that.
at him like that?
It
Yeah.
would be more
Yeah.
scary for you, right? Because you're hearing yourself out of this
Hmm.
scary bird, or is the adversary just takes whatever form, or is it always a bird?
I think it's whatever form.
Okay, so like whatever form, probably like your biggest fear or something like for Storm, she wants to fly and feel the wind again. This bird can do that, and it's kind of like mocking her.
Yeah.
So that'd probably be like a good example of that's her adversary because the adversary can do what she wants to do again, and it's Storm's voice coming out of it. So it's like even more terrifying for her.
Hmm.
That's a really good observation.
Yeah. Well, and
Wow.
I'm going to get like all deep now, but I firmly believe that everybody's greatest adversary sounds like themselves. So there's like a little bit of psychology for
Yeah.
everybody. I'm going to, Dylan, as soon as this is over, I'm going to start printing a trophy and I'm going to give it to you to give to Allison next time you see her and just say, this is on behalf of every
Yeah,
X-Men fan in the world.
I,
You deserve this.
I will. I will. I.
All right.
I'm not going to brag a little bit, but I am connected with Allison. And like after I watched the episode, I messaged her. I was like, "Oh my god, you were the adversary too! This is so awesome!" And yeah, she was like, "That was something that I got to keep as a secret for a while. That I got to be a villain too." And I was like, "Oh my god, so good!"
That is the best. All right. Questions. We will start at the top. Who's your favorite character of all time? Mine is probably Pyro and Jubilee. Michelle, you first.
I mean, I'm a Jean stan. Like, I will die on that hill. I love my girl. Like, I'm Wolverine. Like, I just can't. I love me some redhead.
Dylan?
Well, so my name on Instagram is Warpath Dylan, but my number one favorite character is Storm. But that's everybody loves Storm, and so she's like the number one. I don't need to give her all my love because the rest of the world is. So I love Warpath because nobody gets in love. So Storm and Warpath,
Mm-hmm.
and we can look at Stefania and tell who her favorite character is.
I mean, let me just, if you can't tell, I also have the jacket right here. If you can tell, my favorite character is actually Jubilee. No, I'm just kidding. It's Rogue. Although Jubilee's cool, but Rogue.
I would like to point out that out of the four of us, we picked all the women from the animated series.
Because the women are like the best.
They're better. They're just better.
Like,
There's there's no question about it. You have to say that the women X-Men characters are better. They're just better.
Notwithstanding if everybody here who's seen X-Men, Dark Phoenix, the movie, and I'm sorry, the most cringeworthy line from any X-Men movie is when Mystique says, "For as much as we're saving the men around here, we should be called the X-Women." Not that I disagree with the sentiment, but the line was just really, really, really hokey, and I'm just going to leave it at that. But yeah, I did think it was interesting that Chris Claremont, if you remember, Dylan, Chris Claremont was asked that at Uncanny Experience, like why, well, of course, Chris Claremont being a relatively liberally minded person, why the book was still called X-Men, and he said, "I brought that up to Marvel several times. The only thing they told me is, well, it's because X-Men is copyrighted." So that's why it's not being changed. And Wolverine's the best. Anyway, what else we got? Steph, who would you choose, Magneto or Gambit? Parentheses in the crop top.
Gambit in the crop top? That makes it so difficult. Okay, is Magneto in his purple M suit? Because that makes a difference.
I don't think it does because whether he is or not, he's old and dusty.
Yeah.
So,
Oh my god. He's not that old. He's a silver fox.
He's a
Okay.
silver fox.
Like,
You know, the crop top's doing it for me. I gotta go with Gambit.
she wants that cream. She wants that
She
shaving
was,
cream. You know?
it's like spicy. What is this live?
Is this live?
yeah, broadcasting live to 137 countries right now.
There's only 15 people here. We're fine.
Yeah, tell it's on YouTube later.
Ooh, I get to look back at this moment in my life.
Yeah, someday when you're old and dusty, your grandkids are going to see this and be like, "Grandma, Steph, what are you talking about?"
She's like, but you didn't see the crop top.
Yeah. Go watch the episode, then judge me, you little brats, okay? Okay. If you woke up with superpowers, what would you do? Would you be a hero or a villain? Dylan, we'll start with you.
Probably a villain.
Yeah.
I just feel like the world sucks more often. So when I started my podcast, my co-host, she was like, "We should ask each other, whose side would you have been on, Xavier or Magneto?" And I was like, Magneto.
Yeah.
Like, no doubt about it, Magneto. So
yeah, Steph?
I have to agree. I like to be in my villain era, so I'm gonna say a villain. Villains have more fun.
Michelle?
I mean, I feel like it would have to depend on the powers that I received, but generally, like I'm pretty positive, pretty optimistic. I think I'm too nice to be a villain, so I would probably use my powers for good, specifically for saving the planet.
I respect that. I feel like if I woke up tomorrow morning with Magneto's powers, I would do everything in my power to try and be a good guy. But the first time somebody cut me off in traffic and flipped me off, that car's getting flung off the overpass. That's all there is to it. Like if you could literally just snap your face, yeah, that's then we get into like the whole like good evil Jedi Sith debate. But what else do we got here? Worst superpower to have. Oh Lord, that's Iceman cosplay. He's awesome. He has that question. Who wants to start with that one?
There's one person in like the Marvel canon universe. His name is Forget Me Not, and people like that's his power. He is forgettable. He's actually on the X-Men, but nobody knows this because they forget. Like he just does not exist.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lame power. Like
I forgot about that character until you said something. So I have to agree. I have to agree that that's the worst power to have.
I'll agree with that too. But also gold balls coming out of your body.
those gold balls give us life, though. Like,
Yes.
literally. Literally, I mean,
Yes.
that's where the X-Men are reborn.
Prior to resurrection.
Prior to
It
resurrection,
makes sense.
WTF. Prior to resurrection, WTF.
Although,
But now that he has a purpose,
although
you
it,
know,
it, it did give rise to one of my favorite exchanges in all of X-Men comics, which was during the Brian Michael Bendis run, when their powers temporarily got deactivated and the reactivate Gold Ball says, "Hey, my balls are working again." And Emma Frost just says, phrasing, like, that was one of my favorite panels, I have to admit. I know, Dylan dad joke. I know.
Yeah.
I think it's funny. I think it's funny.
Oh, and last question. Da, 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 da. Favorite Easter egg in this episode? Dylan, what do you think? Warpath.
The cameos when they were showing the other TV shows, the one that was for a different world, and it had a bunch of the X-Men. It also had North Star and Darwin, of all characters. Darwin, like, understand North Star, but Darwin?
Deep
What?
cut.
Yeah.
Deep cut.
Are they actually gonna, if Darwin does show up, are they actually gonna do him justice this time?
Oh, yeah, because they killed the unkillable. And we
They
Which
did.
made no sense,
still
right?
Just had to
don't.
remind everyone about that.
Well, that was Fox, and this is Marvel slash
hmm
Disney. So maybe they'll be like, listen, the source material says he can't die.
Yeah.
Like,
I think
let
if
him
they
live.
ever did have like the actor come back and Darwin come back, I feel like the theater would go insane for Darwin. Like the biggest reaction for like any character, it would be Darwin. Like forget Wolverine, forget Cyclops, forget Storm during her mutant power, Omega level shit. Darwin, if he showed back up, I would be ecstatic. I would freak out.
He just shows up and he's like, guys, I actually teleported away because I didn't want to be part of any of this. But
That was me adapting.
Yeah, he was like, I'm
fine,
out.
I went to
He's like, BRB, BRB.
So Sean in here did say Jubilee's Cabbage Patch. Were you referring to her long shot doll? Was that because that was like next to the Motendo? Was this like long shot looking like stuffed animal type thing? Was that what you were referring to, Sean?
I would assume.
I would assume.
Also, with
Mhm.
Sean in chat, it's like Disney's watching
Yeah.
us, and I'm like
Sean's
a
in
little
there.
uncomfortable.
No, it's so cool.
Joking.
Anyway, oh yeah, Sean says yeah. Michelle, your turn for the Easter egg. What do you got?
She's frozen.
Like
Oh no.
like ice. There she is.
There she is. Hi, Michelle. Can she? She's
Oh, no.
very frozen. Her favorite cameo was Iceman because he freezes.
And you're getting on me for dad jokes. Are you serious right now?
Ew.
Michelle? Looks horrible on my screen. So I'm
I
scrolling.
know. The face she had when she was frozen. Oh my
Are
god.
you back?
Michelle,
Am I back?
you're back
Everybody
now.
else was
Yeah.
frozen, but I could hear you all talking smack about me. Which is
These
rude.
two. These two.
I heard something about Iceman, and I was like, that's not my favorite. Like, rude. Oh, what was, is it my turn?
Yes.
Yeah.
What was the question?
What was your favorite Easter egg from this episode?
Oh my gosh. Oh. I like seeing Long Shot, but I liked it when Mojo specifically called out my girl Dazzler. Like, I'm like, it's giving me hope, it's giving me life that maybe she will make an appearance, and that would be amazing. Like, I'm hoping for a Dazzler cameo. So close. Sean, give us Dazzler.
I hate to be that person, but according to my inside sources, Dazzler makes an appearance for 3 seconds in episode 4 of season 3. That's all I got. Best I can do for you. Sorry.
That's not what I want to hear. I'm gonna go talk. I'm gonna talk to Sean
Yeah,
about this.
I might have
And
made
I'm be
that up.
like, okay, I'm gonna talk
Okay.
to your twin. I'm be like, Sean, please tell me this is not true. That Dazzler gets her own episode,
Are you good?
and we get the X babies.
Yeah, yes. And I hope it's done Scotty Young style, like the entire episode. Wouldn't that be amazing?
That would
Oh yes, sorry, Sean. I let the Dazzler out of the bag on that one.
see.
Are you, Michelle? Are you going to be excited when Dazzler shows up as Taylor Swift in Deadpool 3?
I will be excited when Dazzler shows up, period.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if it's Taylor Swift, I don't care if it's somebody else. I just want to see my girl. Like, that last thing we got in Dark Phoenix, I mean, that was barely anything,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Like, I just want her to be, like, part of the
The
X-Men.
scene was barely anything, or the entire movie?
Both. That was probably the best scene of the whole movie.
No.
Yeah, was the Dazzler part.
Yeah, but I will say that movie was better than Apocalypse.
I don't agree with that
Really?
statement.
Really?
Yeah,
You know, I think
I cannot.
a lot of it has to do with like going all the way back to the beginning. X-Men Dark Phoenix was the only one I didn't see in theaters because I was just done with the franchise at that point. And it was like out for like a year when I finally sat down to watch it, and I expected to be absolutely god awful. And I think when it wasn't like a negative 1,000% god awful, I was like, maybe it's not terrible after all.
You were
But
just whelmed.
Apocalypse,
You were
yeah,
just whelmed.
yeah. Whereas Apocalypse like left such a bad taste in my mouth because I made the mistake of being excited for that movie,
Oh,
and then you just get kicked in the junk, and you're like, what is this? And it had such a great cast too, and yet they were like, so.
I got more from Apocalypse though than I did from Dark Phoenix. Like,
We
yeah.
didn't get much more. I feel like the only thing I liked about Apocalypse was Olivia Munn, and that was about it.
We got Olivia Munn as Psylocke, and that was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, and I hate to be like the one who nitpicks. I love Olivia Munn and I love Psylocke, but we never really got to get into like being Psylocke in that movie. It was stand in the background with a stern look on your face, and that's like 90% of your role in this movie.
I don't think that was her fault though.
No, it's definitely not her fault. They got to work with the script they're given,
Yeah.
Unless you're Allison Smith and you can just like burn it down with like 3 lines of dialogue, but she's a goddess, so that's okay.
Or like even make the worst sounding, cheesiest line ever sound like the coolest thing you've ever heard. So she can do it all.
Yeah.
And we're back to giving Allison a award.
Yes.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, let's just hire Allison to come in and do Psylocke's voice.
If they could literally just be Storm in any movie, but whatever actress they hire, they're like, just so you know, your voice is getting dubbed.
Yes. We're CGIing this whole character. We just need you to green screen it for us.
Or what if we just get like a different like version, and like we get Allison and like Lenore as like Rogue and Storm, but it's like set in the future, so they're a little older, like it could work.
Believe me, I actually was telling Lenore, because I saw her talking to those Bat in the Sun people who like to make those movies like the Power Rangers like really far in the future. I was like, Lenore, talk to them about making a Rogue movie, or like a 5-minute Rogue movie from 50 years in the future or something.
Yeah.
They do it and you would kill it. So
yeah.
That would be epic. Absolutely. Hell's yeah.
Oh my god, or like a Golden Girls kind of thing. I'm not like
yes.
A Golden Girls. It would just be like Jean,
all the 4
Rogue,
girls.
and Storm, and Jubilee.
Because you gotta have more.
Yeah.
Cheesecake on the Lanai.
I like that.
Yes.
And then Wolverine's there, but he's still young. Like, he hasn't changed.
Yeah.
But he's like, I still like you, Jean. Like, I got you. He's like, Scotty's out of the picture now. He died.
Yeah.
He died 40 years ago.
Diabetes finally got him. Too much sugar.
Too much sugar.
Right?
That'd be
Yeah.
great. I would love to see like somebody draw art for that. I would love
Mhm.
to see it.
Yeah, that's the one thing about the love triangle is Logan's like, I'll just play the long game on this thing.
I know,
Dude's gonna
No,
right?
die
really.
eventually,
It's
and I'll
great.
still be like, I'll
He's
still
like,
have a
wait, we
six
can
pack.
clone them? He's like, we can clone them?
Yeah. I didn't want to be the dirty one to make that joke of him being like, there's two of them. I've had this dream. Like, oh my God,
And Spider-Man makes that same joke with MJ and Black Cat. He like wakes up and he's like, "Is this a dream or something?" And they're like both in his room.
hmm Yeah, that would be great. Well, yeah, we're getting time to pack up this live. Does anybody have anything they want to add on their way out? Not everybody wants. Okay. Anybody watching this right now or watching this in the future, I will once again say go to theuncannyexperience.com, get your tickets. You can come hang out with all four of us, from the young ones to the dusty old ones. We will be at the Minneapolis Club. It will be amazing. Go get your tickets now. Are there still VIP tickets available, or those sell out?
There are. And also, like, if any of you agree with us on giving Allison Seeley Smith all the awards, she will be there. Like,
We should give her an
her
award.
We
awards.
Yes.
should.
We must talk off the air about some ceremony or something. Yes. I will make the biggest, coolest looking award on the planet, and we will roll it in on a fork truck and be like, take this home.
Canada with you.
Well, I will say once again, I can't thank the awesome panel here, the X-Men 97 gang. You guys are the best. Steph, Warpath, Dylan, Michelle, I love you guys so much. We'll let you go, and thanks everybody for watching. Thanks everybody for hanging out, and will we see everybody next week again?
Same,
Yes.
is
Yes,
it
I
same
think so,
time,
yeah.
same place?
Same
Is
time,
that
same channel.
Hmm.
same channel? Different
Oh,
episode.
That's
Ah,
right. That's right. We get to see where all of this adversary stuff is leading.
okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Well, once again, thanks. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks you guys for hanging out. We will talk to you next time. Bye.